I think you're amazing.
You are too, Henry.
Thank you so much. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. It's such an honor to be here with you today. And as always, thank you so much for taking this opportunity to be on the show. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Shavette Harris. Her focus is exploring why women carry the weight of the world, but we neglect ourselves and our needs, she says. She discussed the importance of recognizing the sacrifice we make to ourselves and the importance of getting back on track with loving ourselves, respecting ourselves, and setting boundaries when it comes to ourselves in regards to women. And today I'm so honored to have her on the program today. Shavette, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, as you stated, I'm Shavette Harris. I am a mother. I am obviously a daughter, right? I am a wife. I am an entrepreneur. I am an executive. But most importantly, I am a broken woman who became whole. And that's because I did my work. And in the words of my husband, I took my pain and I turned it to power. And because of that, I am authentically happy. I'm authentically myself. And that allows me to be successful and efficient in all the roles I just mentioned to you that I play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Why do you think women neglect themselves and their needs?
So if you think about how young men are raised, it's to be providers, to be protectors, to be go getters, to be strong. And when you think of women, we are taught to be caregivers. We are taught to be independent. We are taught to be nurturers, to be able to cook and keep a home and be our partner's number one supporter and number one fan. And in the midst of it all, somehow maintain ourselves. But if you notice, I never said anything about self-care. We're supposed to care for the world, but it's nothing about caring for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And just like a car, when the gas is going low, your gas light come on. And if you're in a newer car, it'll even go as far as telling you how many miles till empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for women, when we see the signs that we're reaching the end, we're becoming depleted, we tend to ignore those signs. And then we eventually end up stranded somewhere, hoping help comes to save us. And a lot of that is just because we haven't been taught, and somewhere along the line, we didn't pick up on the importance of self-care. And then it ends up becoming self-neglect. And then you have all of the things that come with that.
There are so many women out there today who have minimized their worth. Some of them don't even know how worthy that they are. So, how can women discover their worth? And what would be your advice also to women who just settle just for anything?
Um, so for me, one of the businesses I own is One Queen to Another LLC. And once we hold hands, we're family. So I refer to the people that come and work with me as my sisters. And one homework assignment that I give my sisters is it's so important to keep a journal. We have to discover why we feel what we feel. We have to acknowledge our feelings. And then once we acknowledge them, it's important to then discover what triggers or experiences are bringing those emotions about. And if it's a happy feeling, that's awesome. You want to keep visiting that place. It's putting you in a wonderful place. But if it's things that question your worthiness or make you feel less than, those aren't places we need to keep visiting or going and aligning ourselves with, because it's not serving us in the way that we need it to serve us. So we need to acknowledge that. And that could be experiences, it could be people, it could be just us reliving something mentally that wasn't a wonderful time, maybe in our journey of life. But for some reason, we feel like we're held bondage to that experience. So we have to uncover it. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be comfortable all the time, but what I can promise you is if you do your work to get to the other side of that uncomfortableness, everything that comes from that will be for the betterment of you. So we have to acknowledge our feelings. Then we have to establish where they're coming from. What we have to do as women is to be willing to get uncomfortable, because sometimes, even though we're in a place of unhappiness, misery, discomfort, because it's a place that we're comfortable with, then we tend to stay there, even when it's not serving us. It's just a place that's our comfort zone, albeit not a good, positive experience. We have to be willing to do some things differently to get some things differently. And let me say something about settling. Settling is honestly a response to feeling you don't deserve something. Settling is saying, I really want this, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I don't think I'm deserving of it. I haven't been getting it. What's taking it so long? Something is better than nothing type of mentality. And we have got to purge that, because if that woman can be over there happy and living her authentic life and happiness, what makes her more worthy than you? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is she was unwilling to settle where you were. And at some point, you just got to get to a place of being sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore willing to do something different so you can get something different. But it has to start at home. And this is home. It has to start at home.
That's amazing. I think that's going to encourage men and women that's watching. So
Awesome.
to women right now who may feel hopeless and helpless and feel like life will never fall back into place or back on track, as you had mentioned, one of your passions is getting women lives back on track.
Mm-hmm.
What's your message to women who just completely given up?
What I would say is I've been there. As part of my introduction, I said I was a broken woman. So I understand the feeling of hopelessness. I understand the feeling of just saying, I'm tired, I give up. I understand the feeling of settling. So when I have compliments today from those younger princesses, the queens my age and my elders, and they say, you're a confident woman. I aspire to be like you. That is one of the best compliments as a woman that I can receive, because I got all those shackles off of me. I did my work. And let me tell you, it was ugly sometimes. Okay. It was ugly sometimes. The tears came, the having to forgive myself for some decisions I made came. But what I want to offer my sisters is nothing is hopeless and nothing is permanent. Even this current moment, in the next 5 minutes, this time right here is history. It's history.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, there's a blessing in that, because the mistakes or the decisions of yesterday doesn't have to determine our today. And it sure as heck doesn't have to determine our tomorrow. So if you are ready to let go of helplessness, it is truly a decision. And I know that sounds so simple, but we as humans complicate life. Life is truly not complicated in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It truly takes a decision of saying, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve better, and I want better, and I'm going after better. It is truly a decision. And once you make the decision, then you do your roadmap and you align your behaviors that follow that roadmap to get you to your destination. So whether that is worthiness, confidence, self-love, a certain relationship, aspiring to get your degree in school, whatever your hopes and aspirations are, you deserve it. It is your God-given right to be authentic in this human experience. That is your right. The only obstacle, and I know this is going to be hard for some people to hear, is you.
Mm-hmm.
It's you. Life is going to happen. That's a given. And I'm not saying it's going to be skipping through the pastors all the time. But what I can tell you is those challenging moments come for a lesson. And you don't know what you want until you experience both sides of it, the good and the bad, the likes and the dislikes. So as we're maneuvering through life, you're just taking notes. Tried that, didn't like it. Let me take that off my list. I really like that. Let me keep that on my list. So for my ladies, you can have everything you want. You just have to make the decision you want it and then stay dedicated to your heart's desires, because nobody can get you there but you. And trust me, God, the universe, whatever your beliefs are, they will send the right people at the right time to bridge your journey along the way. Guaranteed. You just got to be open to receive.
So women that may not love and respect themselves, where do you think that's birthed from? Where does that come from? And also, how can that be uh, dis dismantled into something much more productive? Because I think it's a sad thing. A lot of women don't love themselves. They don't respect themselves. I'm not saying it's always a result of something that's happened in their past. It could be a bad relationship, bad marriage, maybe the way they was raised. How can we? What can you say to destroy that lie that they are good?
Mm-hmm. And to your point, Henry, I think it's a variety of all those things. It may have
Yeah.
been watching mom and dad and the dynamics of that relationship, and as a young princess at the time, internalizing that as how a woman is supposed to be treated. Then as you're beginning your own journey, and some of maybe perhaps traumatic experiences you have had, or the negative experiences, and all of that is becoming internalized in you. Some of it is looking in the mirror, not feeling pretty, not feeling beautiful, and feeling no one will want you. And sometimes it's what people have told you. You had that teacher or that family member, and sometimes even our own parents, who have said you're not going to be anything. You're not pretty like your sister. You're not this, you're not that, you're not this, you're not that. And, beliefs are nothing but repetitive thoughts, right? So if you're constantly hearing, you're not this, you're not that, and you're internalizing it, at some point that becomes a belief. Now that that's a belief, your behaviors align. So now you're going out to the world not expecting to be loved right. You're not even looking at the partners that might treat you the way you want to be treated. You're looking at the ones that you know are going to meet your expectations of disrespect, abuse, or whatever that may be. One of the biggest issues that, and this is men or women, but because my conversation is about women today, one of the biggest faults that we have as humans is we look outside ourselves. We look outside ourselves for love. We look outside ourselves for a pat on the back, or any type of, job well done, or accolade, or anything like that. And this is one thing in my business that I drill into my sisters. When we give somebody the power to make us happy, when we look outside ourselves for love, understand you're also given the power to make you unhappy. You're also giving them the power to make you feel less than and not loved. People come into your life and they should be an extension. So picture yourself as a tree trunk, right? All the branches and the extensions should be an extension of you. So if I love me, everything that attaches to me should also have love for me. If I have confidence, everything attached to me feeds that confidence. So, and it feeds off of me. So what I want to say to my sisters is, be the person you aspire to be. So when you look at these celebrities or whoever you hold in high self-esteem, what makes you any different? There's absolutely nothing. So if you want to be confident, reach out, get a mentor, get you a coach. We all need a helping hand at sometimes, because nobody can have this life experience solo. We can't. So what I would say to them is, it is nothing wrong with looking in the mirror and say, I'm not as confident as I want to be. I'm not as spiritually aligned as I want to be. Maybe I desire to go and educate myself a little more. Whatever your heart's desire is, then first acknowledge it. Don't beat yourself up about it, because what's done yesterday is yesterday. Like I said from your previous question, the beautiful thing is everything is temporary. So you get the opportunity each and every day to repaint your canvas if you want to. So when it comes to the question of how do we respect ourselves and love ourselves, it has to start here. And once we allow it to penetrate out into the world, we'll start attracting those things that are aligned with us. So the way a woman can tell if she has that love and respect for herself, one, you're going to feel it, but two, look at your environment, look at your surrounding. It's going to tell you everything, because it's like a moth to a flame. You're going to attract who and what you are. And if you're not attracting the experiences and the people, go home, go into your laboratory and say, okay, this is what I'm noticing. This is what I want. What can I change? Because the change begins here and then it shows up externally. But it starts internally.
Wow, that was powerful, and I appreciate you so much for being on the show. If you are a woman that's watching and you are battered, scorned, broken, uh, feel like you're worthless, feel like you're no good. I mean, all the bad things that you may feel about yourself, I believe that Shavette Harris services will be a great benefit to you. And she has so many resources and things that she does in her business that will help you. I would like to encourage everyone that's watching to connect with her and utilize her services by visiting www.onequeen2another.llc.com. That's all together. And you'll see her website. You'll see all the resources and things that she has, and that'll work for you. And I believe that I don't believe you will be disappointed if you connect with her today. So I'd like to encourage all of you to visit her website and connect with her. And Shavette, I appreciate you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I am so honored. Thank you so much, Henry, and many blessings to you and your audience.
Yeah, thank you too. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank
God bless
you.
you too. Thank you for having me.